So Elliotte Friedman erupted Canucks Twitter last night when he tweeted out an 80-second clip of him and Canucks superstar center Elias Pettersson on a boat talking. And they were is likely a recording for the 32 Thoughts podcast that Elliotte Friedman does. And the main part of the clip that Friedman posted was Friedman asking Pettersson about signing an extension. We all know that Pettersson is entering into the final year of his second 3-year contract with the Vancouver Canucks. That means as of July the 1st, he was eligible to negotiate to sign an extension with the team, one that would take him well past his first year, the start of his unrestricted free agency. And we know that to this point, Pettersson has not signed that extension. And basically, PD said, I'm in no rush to sign an extension. I don't know if it's going to be a short term, if it's going to be a long term, but I want to focus on my training and making sure that I and the team get off to a really, really good start. Now, you can understand why Canucks fans, those who saw it last night at 12:04 Pacific, so I guess earlier this morning, technically at 12:04 it went out, or those that went to bed earlier than that woke up to it. And you can understand why some Canucks fans are freaking out. I don't agree. I'm not freaking out. I'm very calm. Got my scooter in the back and I got my cast on my leg and I'm dressed casual for work. But I'm very calm because I didn't expect Pettersson to say anything different. Now, yes, I agree. I would love to hear PD say, yeah, I'm going to sign long-term in Vancouver. I love the city. I love the fans. I love the organization. I love my teammates. And I think we have a chance to do some really, really exciting things here in Vancouver. I would have loved him to say that. But if he said that, then I'm not sure if he'd be entirely truthful. And I much rather have someone shoot straight and be very transparent, be very genuine. You don't have to say everything, share everything to the media. I get that this is a negotiation. But as much as I would love him to say, I love the city and my plan is to sign here long term, I think I'm even more appreciative that he was very honest and he doesn't lead anyone on and he doesn't give any false pretenses or false hope to the city. He said what he should say is, I'm in no rush. He's under contract for another year for sure. And then the Canucks have rights to sign him to an extension. And if I was PD, I would do the same thing. I would wait to see how the team's doing, how all these new additions are doing, because if he's going to sign a 7 or 8 year contract, if it were you, wouldn't you want to make sure that you felt confident and comfortable with the direction that the team is going in? So truly on the surface and even beneath the surface, I have absolutely no problem with what PD said. I'll get to what his agent said in a second. So that was the gist of the small clip that we saw from Elliotte Friedman, is that Pettersson said he's in no rush to sign an extension. He doesn't know if it's going to be short-term or long-term, and he wants to make sure that he and the team get off to a strong start. Now, PD is in this position because he had his 3-year entry-level contract. Then his next contract was another 3-year deal worth $7.35 million per season, and that brings him up to 6 years. 3 plus 3 is 6. You don't in general terms, you don't become an unrestricted free agent until after your 7th year. So this is why the next contract is so important. The absolute worst case scenario would be for PD to say, actually, I'm not going to sign an extension with Vancouver. I will take the 1-year contract that he's owed. He'll get through, because by virtue of being a restricted free agent, he gets a 1-year deal at an X amount, and then that's allocated, and then boom, he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the 2024-2025 season. That is the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is any time between now and next summer, the Canucks sign Pettersson to an 8-year contract that's going to be worth, as I've talked about on this channel, anywhere between $11 and $12 million. And then we have PD for the next 8 seasons. And PD even mentioned that. He said that this next contract is going to be the biggest contract of his career. The middle of the road option that isn't great, but isn't the worst thing ever, is if he signs a 3, 4, or 5-year extension, which technically buys a couple or a few of his unrestricted free agent years, but doesn't give you the full length of an 8-year contract. And maybe, just maybe, that's the way he may go, sign for 3 or 4 years, a short one, and then he gets to unrestricted free agency even sooner. So those are some of the, when he says short-term versus long-term, I believe that's kind of what is in his mind. Now, a couple people like Ian McIntyre have reached out to PD's agent, Pat Brisson, who also represents some really, really high-powered clients like Sidney Crosby. And Brisson basically echoed what PD had to say in that there's no rush to sign an extension, that he's being focused very hard on his off-season training so then he can come out of the gates really strong and lead the Vancouver Canucks to more victories. And we know that last season, PD worked on his skating, a less upright style, more kind of balanced and stronger down below. So that was what he worked on last summer. And this summer, and we've seen the post and we've heard PD talk about it directly, he's been working on his fitness, his strength overall, wants to build add a few pounds, add some more muscle. And in essence, if that doesn't take away from his speed, his brains, his hands, it's going to make him that much more of a difficult player to play against. So I believe it when PD and his agent say that the focus is being on off-season training. I believe it when they say that he wants to get off to a really strong start. And I believe it when they say that he does want to stay in Vancouver, but there's no rush on the contract extension. They can do that all the way up until July 1st of next summer. Now, another thing I want to bring up, JT Miller. Well, you remember JT Miller, he actually signed on Labor Day weekend, 2 months after his signing window opened. But remember, JT Miller last summer was coming off a 99-point season. And if Miller and his agent thought that was going to be the peak, they wanted to strike while the iron was hot. Pettersson has openly talked about wanting to exceed his 102-point total, an awesome season that got him some Selke votes, that got him some Hart Trophy votes. So if he's betting on himself and thinking that he's going to have even a better season than 102 points, the team's going to do better, then why wouldn't you wait to sign that contract? Because maybe that adds another $500,000 to $1 million to his next deal. Remember, the salary cap's going up, so there's going to be a lot of money to play with. And basically, whatever PD wants, as long as the Canucks agree on it, whatever PD wants, PD is going to get. So I add that as well as another argument or another reason why PD's in no rush to sign, because he thinks that he can outdo his excellent season from last year and then therefore up how much he's going to make. Yes, this is a business proposition. Obviously, this is the biggest contract of PD's life. He's going to want to make as much as he can, and you certainly can't blame him for that. So the truth of the matter is, PD has not signed an extension yet. The agent says we will reevaluate at the end of the year. Some people are saying, well, does that mean the calendar year? No. Usually when an agent or player talks about the end of the year, they're not looking at the calendar. They're looking at a season. So don't be surprised, Canucks fans, if they kind of shut down talks and they say we're not going to talk about it all season. And then if they ramp up talks April, May, June, whenever the Canucks season may end, because that's another full season with PD, racking up points, doing amazing things, and also a full season that PD and his agent can evaluate where this team is headed. That's why, as I've talked about on this channel, the Canucks have made such improvements. That's why they did the OEL buyout when they could. That's why they brought in guys like Suter, Bluger, Cole, Susi, Hronek last year. This team is going to be hopefully much improved. Hopefully they're going to be in a playoff position, and hopefully all those things are going to convince Pettersson to sign here long term. Canucks fans, let me know what you think. If you've seen the clip or you've read the articles, are you freaked out? I'm not freaked out. I think this is realistic. It's obviously a great talking point, and because like I've been saying, it's going to be the biggest talking point for this entire season. But let me know how you're feeling right now with your reaction to what PD had to say. Are you freaked out? Are you calm, relaxed? Are you kind of with me and saying, well, what else is he going to say? This is the smart play for him and his agent. Or do you kind of wish he said something a little bit different? And all those things can be true. Shout out to my sponsors, Van City Experts Real Estate, Perform, Transform, Personal Training, Weight Loss. Thank you, legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Carol Bovenlander, legendary Andrew Chang, Hall of Fame and franchise members as well. And thanks to all of you. Always appreciate you. I never take you for granted. And thanks to everyone who's been reaching out to making sure I'm okay with my injury. As always, subscribe, like the video, leave a donation, become a member, upgrade your membership, and definitely leave a comment down below your thoughts on Elias Pettersson's most recent comments about his contract extension. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. God bless, and go Canucks go.